Hello, I'm Dr. Mira Reisberg and children's books is my life. I love running the Children's Book Academy, helping people write and illustrate and publish children's books. It's my life's work, and somehow my whole life's experience, all my education, everything that I've done has led up to being a teacher, helping people write, illustrate, and publish children's books. So I'm doing this book review series. Most of the books, although not all, are by my former students who I tend to love. And here's the next one. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Mira Reisberg and I've got another wonderful book to share. This is from another student, Shirin Shamsi. And Shirin is just a beautiful, beautiful woman and very courageous. She's Muslim, and this story, The Moon from Dehradun, A Story of Partition, is about the separation of India into India and Pakistan, where the Muslims were sent out of India and it was partitioned. And people that had lived in peace and harmony for centuries, it just destroyed their lives. It was terrible. And it's told through the lens, and you can really tell any kind of story you want. It's how you frame it to make it appropriate for children. And it's told through the lens of this little girl, and she's got her favorite doll that her daddy made her from the softest cotton with bright button eyes and a long woolen braid. I wrap her soft and snug in Ami's shawl. We are moving, I whisper in her ear. In 5 days, we will go on a train ride. I arrange sweet-scented flowers in her hair. There is shouting outside. Why are people angry, I ask. They are afraid, Ami says, because our home has been divided and some of them don't know where they belong anymore. When Ami makes halva, she cuts it into pieces. Can that happen to a place? Yes, it can, and it does. And it's still happening. It's just, yeah. So it's a very political story, but in the most non-obvious way. And that's, when I say about not being didactic or not being preachy while teaching about something like history. I mean, wow, very powerful. And so I'm not going to give the whole story away except to say that she forgets, in all the madness and the rush of having to leave, she forgets her doll and she loses that doll and she's heartbroken. And then they travel by train until they reach their new home. Great illustrations, very different palette than what you normally see, but really appropriate for the story that it is. Muezzins call echoes from the minaret. I think it sounds like a sad goodbye. The fruit seller's cart sits empty on the street. The dhobi sits quietly. Bibishi holds a tasbih in her hand, her lips moving in prayer. I stare at Chotu fiercely. It's all his fault. He made me forget. So there's some sibling stuff going on, and there's a lot of stuff that kids can identify with. No matter where you're from, there's a lot to learn in this book. It's really a phenomenal book. And then they arrive, and it takes days and nights, and it's just, it's not a fun trip. No, she looks after her little brother. Silence greets us like a shadow in our new house. Okay, simile and metaphor. If you can use simile and metaphor, it's a beautiful thing. I just worked with a student who, her first manuscript, the first draft, it was over 1,200 words, and we got it down to 600. and then she completely rewrote it and got it down to the 500s. And she brought in all these metaphors and similes that were just awesome. And then we re-edited it and we made it into the 400s. And it's fabulous. It's such a wonderful book, and it's such a thrill for me as a teacher watching students learn and blossom. But I digress. Back to this. Silence greets us like a shadow in our new house, empty rooms, clothes scattered. Did this family also leave in a hurry? In the kitchen, a pot of dal sits on the stove, cold and stale. Ami and Abba are quiet. Chotu crawls happily on the hard tiles, and I follow him deeper into the house. And that's when a sad-looking doll, worn and ragged. Were you forgotten too, I whisper, wrapping the doll in my shawl and holding her close to my heart. Don't worry, I'll keep you safe. Maybe someone will take care of my Gurya too. The stars shine down with light enough for everyone. A muezzin calls to prayer. A muezzin's call to prayer echoes through an open window like a hopeful hello. And the moon is still at last. And it goes on. But one of the things that's really astounding about this book, it's got, it shows a map of the partition. And it just shows all the, the ensuing political conflict. Just like, what happened in Israel, where the British drew lines demarking what was what. And, that's called colonialism. But then there's a glossary, what all the words mean. And then here, it's so powerful. And it's both tells the story of pre-partition and partition and her own family story. And how it was, the story was inspired by her mother's childhood experience when violence came to her family's beautiful town, nestled in the foothills of the Himalayas. So really, really powerful. Strongly recommend. If you're interested in writing books that deal with challenging subject matter, this is a fabulous mentor text, and it's just a wonderful book in general. And Shirin has published lots of books at this point, and it's just really, really wonderful. I'm really proud of her and super happy for her. And it's all her hard work. As a teacher, I love teaching, but then seeing what students go and do on their own is incredibly gratifying. That's it for now.